my child, stop what you're doing and listen. Heaven is speaking directly to you. You stand on sacred ground, moments away from the fulfillment I have long prepared. One final step awaits you. Don't miss it. This is the turning point, the breath before breakthrough, the moment that determines whether you enter into everything I've promised or remain where fear has held you. Do not move carelessly, and do not ignore this call. The heavens are shifting, time is narrowing, and I am reaching for your heart. Listen closely, for this step carries eternal weight. You have felt it, haven't you? That quiet stirring within your soul, the gentle whisper that wakes you before the morning light, the subtle pull that you cannot explain but cannot ignore. That whisper is me. I have been speaking softly, not to startle you, but to draw you close. My voice does not come with thunder or force. It comes in stillness, in the quiet of your thoughts, in the spaces where your heart begins to hope again. For I have been preparing you, my beloved, for a moment unlike any other, the moment where your waiting meets my divine fulfillment. You stand on the edge of a new dawn, and though you may not yet see the light rising, it is already breaking in the unseen. You have prayed, wept, and wondered if I still hear you. You have looked to the heavens and asked, Lord, what are you doing? I have heard every whisper of your heart. I have seen every tear fall. You must know that I have never been distant, not for one heartbeat. My silence was not absence but orchestration. I have been aligning what you could not see, preparing the path before you, making straight the places that once felt impossible. What you called delay, I called design. I have been writing the final lines of this chapter with precision, because I do not build hastily when it comes to the ones I love. There is a sacred rhythm in your journey, a divine heartbeat that matches mine. Every struggle you have endured, every season of confusion, every unanswered prayer, they have not been wasted. They were part of a greater preparation, a tuning of your heart so that you might hear me clearly when the time comes. And now, the time is near. You feel it, though you cannot name it. That quiet stirring inside is not restlessness. It is recognition. Your spirit senses what your eyes cannot yet see, that something holy approaches, something ordained before time began. My whisper is not merely calling you forward. It is awakening what I placed within you long ago. The purpose I planted, the dream I hid deep within your spirit, the vision that once burned but dimmed under disappointment. It is all coming back to life. I am breathing on the embers of your faith, reigniting the flame that once roared with passion. Do not mistake this season as ordinary. It is divine transition. The night has been long, but dawn always comes for those who refuse to stop believing. So listen closely, my child. The whisper you feel is not uncertainty. It is invitation. I am inviting you to lean closer, to trust me beyond what you understand. You are nearer to breakthrough than you think. The dawn is not coming. It is already here. And the whisper you hear is not just my call. It is my promise that I am not finished with you yet. You have carried the weight of waiting like a stone pressed against your heart, haven't you? You've watched days turn into months, months into years, and still wondered when the promise would unfold. You've whispered to me in the quiet of your room, asking, Lord, how much longer? And though my answers did not come as quickly as you desired, I want you to know, your waiting was never wasted. Every second, every sigh, every night you laid awake wondering if I had forgotten you, I was nearer than your breath. Waiting is not punishment, my beloved, it is preparation. I was shaping your endurance, purifying your motives, strengthening your roots so your faith would not collapse under the weight of the blessing to come. You see, many cry for the promise but are not ready to carry its weight. A promise from me is not a light thing. It requires a heart that can hold it with humility. That is why I had to teach you to trust me in silence. When nothing seemed to move, I was building in you the faith that does not depend on visible progress. I was stripping away your dependence on results, teaching you to cling to me instead of to outcomes. You thought I was delaying your breakthrough, but I was actually deepening your foundation. For what good is a castle built on sand? You, my child, are not being built for moments. You are being built for eternity. I know you have grown weary at times. You've seen others move ahead, their prayers seemingly answered while yours remained in the waiting room. But I tell you, your waiting season was sacred. It was there that I taught you to discern my voice, to recognize my hand even when hidden, to worship not for what you receive but for who I am. Waiting refines what haste corrupts. It births wisdom that shortcuts can never produce. And though you have felt the ache of unanswered prayers, I was answering a deeper prayer, the one you didn't know how to speak. Lord, make me ready. Now, the season of waiting nears its fulfillment. The things I've hidden will soon be revealed. You will look back and see that nothing was delayed. Everything was on time. The pain you carried with the soil for the promise now about to bloom. So lift your eyes from the calendar of human timing and fix them on the rhythm of my eternity. The weight of waiting was never meant to crush you, only to carve you into the vessel worthy of what's coming next. You have not been standing still. You have been standing strong, and I have been standing with you all along. You stand closer to completion than your eyes can perceive. You've been walking a long road, climbing hills of uncertainty, carrying the memories of battles that once made you tremble. But hear me now, the journey is not ending in defeat. You are standing on the threshold of divine completion. What I began in you, I am bringing to fulfillment. Not one word I have spoken over your life will return void. You have endured the pruning. You have walked through fire, and though the flames tested your faith, they could not consume you. Every trial was a signpost pointing toward this moment, a moment where heaven declares, it is time. Completion, my child, does not mean perfection. It means fulfillment of purpose. There are parts of your story that seemed unfinished, threads left hanging in the tapestry of your life, but I tell you, nothing was left undone. The seeming loose ends are where my glory will shine brightest. I have been weaving what you could not see. While you mourned what was lost, I was resurrecting what was meant to live. The chapter you are entering now carries the fragrance of completion, the sweetness that follows seasons of surrender. I want you to look not at what you think is broken, but at what I have built within you through it all. Your heart, once fragile, has learned to trust in me. Your spirit, once restless, has learned to find peace in my timing. These are the marks of maturity, proof that the waiting has not been in vain. You are not the same person who began this journey. The strength you carry now was forged in hidden places where only I could see. And as you stand at this divine threshold, know that completion is not an ending but a new beginning. The doors that are about to open will not require striving, for they have been opened by my hand. You will feel a shift, a release, a clarity that can only come from me. What once felt delayed will unfold quickly now, because the work within you is complete enough for the next assignment. So, breathe deeply, my beloved. The nearness of completion is not a distant promise. It is the pulse you feel even now within your spirit. The season of preparation is giving birth to manifestation. You will see my fingerprints on everything, and you will know with certainty that none of it was by chance. The dawn has broken, and what I began in you, I am finishing beautifully. You feel it, don't you? That inner stirring that you can't quite explain. The sense that something within you is shifting, awakening, rising like a tide that cannot be stopped. That is not anxiety, my child. that is my spirit moving within you. It is the whisper of heaven reminding you that your time is near. You have walked through valleys, stood in silence, and wondered if I still move in your life. And now, even without full clarity, your soul senses that change is coming. This stirring is not confusion, it is confirmation. You are feeling the rumble of destiny deep within your spirit because the season that once confined you can no longer contain what I am birthing inside you. Do not dismiss this holy restlessness as unease. When I begin to move, I first awaken the hearts of my children. You are sensing the call to more, to deeper faith, greater trust, and bolder obedience. The familiar no longer satisfies you because I am calling you beyond it. That uneasiness you feel in what once felt comfortable is my way of loosening your grip on the old, preparing you to step into the new. When I move you from one season to another, I do not shout, I stir. I waken your spirit before I shift your circumstances. Its stirring is your spirit aligning with my will before your eyes see what I am about to do. Remember, I never stir without purpose. The longing that has risen again in you, the dream you thought was buried, the passion that you laid down, the hope that refused to die. These are not random emotions. They are divine signals that the appointed time draws near. What I planted in you long ago is beginning to sprout again because it has reached its season of fulfillment. You are feeling the first movements of resurrection power, the evidence that what seemed dormant was only waiting for my breath. I know the stirring feels both exciting and unsettling. You are torn between what you know and what you sense coming. But trust me, every spiritual stirring precedes divine movement. The world around you may still look the same, but the atmosphere within you has already shifted. You are standing in transition, and my spirit is preparing you to take the final step into what I have ordained. Do not resist it. Yield to the stirring. Let it push you closer to me. You are not losing stability. You are gaining alignment. The shaking inside is the breaking of chains that can no longer hold you. So listen to me now, my beloved. Do not silence this stirring with fear or distraction. Let it lead you to prayer, to worship, to surrender. I am awakening your spirit to recognize what heaven already knows. You are ready. The stirring is not a warning. It is a birth cry. What I have placed within you is about to emerge, and the same spirit that stirs you will sustain you through the change to come. This is the moment you have longed for yet feared. The final step. It is closer than you imagine, and it does not come with trumpets or grand displays but with quiet obedience. You thought the final step would require your strength, but hear me clearly, my beloved, it requires your surrender. The last step of your journey is not about doing more. It's about trusting deeper. You have fought, prayed, waited, and persevered. You have done what you could, and now I ask for what remains, your complete yielding. The final step is the place where you let go of control and allow me to carry you into the promise I prepared. You see, many come close to destiny but hesitate when they reach the threshold of surrender. They fear losing what little control they think they have. But child, you must know, control was never safety. It was only illusion. I am not asking you to abandon your dreams. I am asking you to place them fully into my hands, so I can breathe life into them. The final step is not one of effort but of faith, not a leap into darkness but into divine assurance. When I say, step, it means I have already gone ahead to prepare the ground beneath your feet. I know you've grown tired of trying to make everything fit, to understand what I'm doing. You've carried responsibilities I never asked you to bear. And now I'm calling you to rest, not in idleness but in trust. The step may look like risk to your natural eyes, but in my eyes, it is alignment. It is the point where your faith stops reaching and finally stands in confidence that I am who I said I am. The final step is not about reaching your destination. It is about entering divine partnership, where your will and mine move as one. Think of Abraham as he lifted the knife in faith, or Peter as he stepped from the boat. They did not understand the outcome, but they trusted my voice more than their reasoning. That's what I'm asking of you. Trust me beyond what makes sense. When you release what you've been clinging to, you will find that my arms have been waiting to hold you all along. The final step is not a fall. It's a crossing over, the moment where faith becomes sight. So, my beloved, don't overthink this moment. Don't look back at what's behind you or measure what's ahead. Simply listen to my voice and take that one step of surrender. When you do, you will discover that the step you feared most was the very one that leads you into the fullness of my promise. You have wondered why heaven grew quiet, haven't you? Why my voice, once so clear, now feels distant, why your prayers echo back as though they are unanswered. Listen carefully, my beloved. Silence is not abandonment. It is the sacred pause before the sound of breakthrough. I have not withdrawn from you. I am watching over the final details of what I promised. Just as the seed must rest in the soil before it bursts forth, so must you rest in faith before the promise unfolds. My silence is not punishment, it is strategy. When I am quiet, it is because I am working on things too great for your understanding. The silence you feel is the stillness of heaven aligning everything in your favor. I know how silence feels. It tests the heart more than pain does. You begin to wonder if I have forgotten you, or if you missed something along the way. You replay decisions in your mind, trying to find the moment you might have stepped outside of my will. But hear me, child, nothing escapes my sight. The steps of your life are written in my design, and even the still moments are part of the melody I'm composing through you. There are breakthroughs that cannot come through words. They are birthed through trust. My silence is the soil where faith either withers or matures. And in you, faith has been growing unseen but unshaken. You remember when I was silent before the resurrection. The world saw the stillness of the tomb and thought it was the end, but heaven saw preparation. When I am silent, I am finishing what I began. You are standing on the brink of manifestation, but the final moments before dawn are always the darkest and the quietest. The silence before breakthrough is the sacred breath I take before speaking light again into your situation. So do not misinterpret my quiet as distance. You are in the waiting room of transformation. Even when I seem silent, my spirit whispers beneath the surface of your heart, strengthening you, preparing you for what's next. Your faith in this silence is a fragrance that fills my throne room. It is the purest form of worship. You are learning to love me not just for what I say, but for who I am. That is maturity. That is faith. And soon, this silence will break. You will hear my voice again, not as a whisper of comfort, but as a command of victory. You will understand why I had to be silent, because what I am about to release required precision, timing, and the perfect alignment of heaven and earth. The silence was never the end. It was a breath before breakthrough. Every promise I give will pass through the fire of trust. This is where faith becomes more than words, where what you claim to believe is refined in the heat of uncertainty. You have come to this test, my beloved, and I see the trembling of your heart. You have trusted me when the path was clear, but now I call you to trust me when the way is hidden. This is the test of trust, not when everything works out, but when everything feels undone. I am not testing you to break you. I am testing you to reveal the strength of what I have built within you. The faith you hold now was not meant to remain untested, for untested faith can't carry divine weight. I know you want answers. I know you want to see what's next, to understand why the road has taken this turn. But trust does not demand explanation. It rests in revelation. It rests in knowing who I am even when you do not understand what I am doing. You remember when I called Abraham to walk without direction, or when I told Peter to step onto the water. They didn't see the outcome, they saw me, and that was enough. I am asking the same of you now. Will you trust my heart when my hand seems still? Will you walk when you cannot see, believing that I lead even in the dark? This test is not meant to expose your weakness. It is meant to prove your strength in me. You will learn in this place that my faithfulness is not fragile, and your trust in me will not go unrewarded. Every tear you've shed in faith has been gathered. Every silent prayer has been recorded. When you chose to keep believing instead of walking away, you passed a test that heaven honors. The enemy wanted this season to make you doubt me. Instead, it will deepen your dependence on me. The test of trust feels like standing on a bridge that disappears beneath each step. But what you don't see is that my hand is building the next plank just before your foot lands. You are not walking into uncertainty. You are walking into my providence. And when you reach the other side, you will see that trust was never meant to be a test of fear, but a revelation of love. I ask you to trust because I know what's ahead. I ask you to walk because the next step is already prepared. The test of trust is not meant to exhaust you. It's meant to elevate you. And as you keep walking, you will discover that trust is not just the test. It's the key that unlocks the door to everything I've promised you. You have felt it creeping close, haven't you? The fear of what you cannot see. That uneasy stirring that whispers, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if you step forward and fall? I see those fears rising like waves in your heart. But hear me, my beloved. The unknown is not your enemy. It is the canvas upon which I paint my greatest miracles. You fear it because you cannot control it. But that is precisely where faith is born. Faith does not thrive in clarity. It grows in mystery. When you cannot see the path ahead, you finally learn to see me. The fear of the unknown is not a curse. It is a sacred invitation to walk hand in hand with the one who knows all things. Do not mistake uncertainty for danger. When I lead you into the unknown, I am not casting you into chaos. I am calling you deeper into trust. The places that feel unclear to you are already familiar to me. Every unseen step, every hidden turn, every unanswered question, I have already walked ahead of you. I stand in your tomorrows before you ever arrive. What you fear as darkness, I see as direction. You call it the unknown. I call it the next chapter of my plan. If you could see what I see, you would not tremble. You would run toward it with joy. I understand how the unknown shakes you. It asks you to surrender what feels safe. It asks you to release control and let faith lead where sight cannot. But child, you were never meant to live by sight. You were designed to move by my voice. The moment you step into the unknown with me, it ceases to be unknown. It becomes holy ground. Every step taken in faith invites heaven's power to surround you. The moment you say, "Yes, Lord," even if I don't understand, my angels move into position, preparing the way before you. So do not run from what you cannot see. Step into it with confidence, knowing I am already there. The fear that grips you is only the shadow of the unknown, but I am the light that casts it away. The place that feels uncertain to you is the very place I have chosen to reveal myself. You will not be lost in the unknown. You will find revelation in it. The more you trust me in what you cannot see, the more clearly you will begin to see who I am. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into my arms. Let go of your fear. Let faith take the lead. The unknown is not something to survive. It is something to discover. With me, your faithful God, guiding every step. You keep wondering which voice to follow. The world shouts with noise, opinions, fears, distractions, expectations, but in the middle of it all, my voice still whispers, I am the shepherd, and you are my beloved sheep. You know my voice. You have heard it before. It is the sound that brings peace when confusion clouds your mind, the tone that stirs warmth in your heart when everything else feels cold. My voice never condemns, it calls. It never rushes, it reassures. When you feel lost, my voice doesn't shout directions. It gently speaks your name, reminding you that you are mine. You ask me, Lord, how do I know it's you speaking? You will know because my voice always leads toward peace, never toward panic. It draws you closer to me, not further away. The enemy mimics, the world distracts, but I lead. My voice will never demand that you perform to earn my favor. It invites you to rest in my love. You have heard it in the quiet moments when you almost gave up. That gentle thought that said, don't quit. I'm still with you. That was me. You felt it in the moment of weakness when strength rose unexpectedly inside you. That was me, speaking through spirit, guiding you home. I know the world has grown loud, and the noise often drowns out my whispers. That is why I sometimes draw you into silence, not to isolate you, but to retune your ears to my frequency. When you quiet the chaos and listen, you'll find that I've been speaking all along. My guidance doesn't come through confusion or fear. It comes through stillness, through a peace that makes no sense to your circumstances. That peace is my signature, the mark of my voice upon your soul. You do not need to chase my direction, for my voice follows you. Even when you wander, I keep speaking. Even when you run from me, I call you back, not with anger, but with compassion. My voice doesn't accuse. It assures you that you still belong to me. You can trust that when I speak, I lead toward life. When you follow my leading, you will not lose your way, even if you do not understand every turn. I am not just the shepherd who commands. I am the shepherd who walks beside you. So, quiet your heart now and listen. The voice you long to hear is not far away. It's already within you. My spirit speaks continually, reminding you that I am guiding your every step. Do not doubt your ability to hear me. You were created to recognize my voice. And as you follow, you will find that I never lead you into harm, only into deeper love, deeper faith, and deeper purpose. For I am your shepherd, and I will never stop speaking to those who are willing to listen. You were waiting for one door to open, weren't you? You prayed, you knocked, you waited by the same threshold, convinced it was the way I would move. Yet the door you stood before remained closed, silent, unyielding. And now, as disappointment whispers that I've forgotten you, look again, my beloved. Turn your gaze slightly, for the door I am opening stands where you least expected it. The answer to your prayer is not behind the door you've been watching, but behind the one I've been preparing. I never promised that the door you chose would be the one I'd use. I promised that I would make a way. Sometimes my way looks different because it must lead you deeper into purpose, not comfort. You were asking me to open a door, but I have chosen the right one. The one that will not just bless you, it will transform you. You see, my ways are higher than yours, and so are my entrances. You expect me to move according to patterns and predictability, but I delight in surprising my children with divine redirection. I will not always use the familiar paths because familiar paths breed complacency. I open unexpected doors to stretch your faith, to teach you that provision and purpose come not from logic but from relationship. When I close one door, it's not rejection, it's redirection. You see a closed opportunity. I see protection from something that would have harmed the destiny I've written for you. The door you didn't expect is not second best. It is my best disguised in mystery. Do not despise the unexpected, for I often hide blessings behind the uninviting. The door that looks too small, too strange, or too humble is often the one that carries the greatest glory. Remember Bethlehem. It wasn't a palace door I chose for my entrance into the world. It was a stable. What looks beneath you is often the very place I dwell. So do not let pride or familiarity blind you to the miracle I am revealing in disguise. The answer to your prayer may come wrapped in discomfort. The breakthrough you seek may come through a person, a job, a shift, or a moment you overlooked. I specialize in the unexpected because it requires faith to recognize it. When I open this new door, walk through it even if it doesn't match your expectations. You will understand later that it was perfectly designed to fit the size of your calling. What you thought was a detour was a direct route to destiny. I am not late, and you are not lost. You are simply standing before a different door than you imagined. Take courage, my child. Push gently on the one you never considered, for it is already unlocked. The door you didn't expect is the very doorway that leads to the fulfillment you've been waiting for all along. You have wondered why it had to be so hard, why the last season felt like one long battle, one endless lesson in endurance. But listen, my beloved, I do not waste pain. Every trial, every tear, every delay was a classroom of divine instruction. You may not have seen it while walking through it, but I was teaching you truths that could not be learned any other way. The lessons of the last season were not to break you, but to build you. You prayed for strength, so I allowed storms that taught you how to stand. You prayed for wisdom, so I permitted confusion that trained your discernment. You prayed for deeper faith, so I took away the crutches that kept you comfortable. You asked to know me more deeply, and so I met you in the wilderness where my voice becomes unmistakable. Every moment had purpose. Nothing was random. I know you've asked me, Lord, couldn't there have been an easier way? And though I could have spared you the pain, I would not have spared you the process, for the process is what formed you. Without it, the promise would destroy what your spirit could not yet sustain. Growth always required pressure. You learned to depend on me not because life was simple, but because it was hard. You discovered that faith isn't proven in comfort but in conflict. And through it all, I was closer than you knew, guiding, pruning, refining, shaping your character to hold the weight of the glory that is coming. The last season stripped away illusions. It revealed what was real. It exposed false strength so true strength could rise. It taught you the difference between emotion and faith, between knowing about me and truly knowing me. You learned how to hear my whisper even when surrounded by noise, how to trust me when my timing made no sense. You learned that my no is often a greater mercy than the yes you thought you needed. You learned to worship me not for what I gave but for who I am. And that, my beloved, is the greatest lesson of all. So do not resent what you've walked through. The wilderness was not wasted, it was training. Every scar now carries revelation, every loss now holds wisdom. The version of you who entered that season is not the same one who's standing here now. You are stronger, wiser, more anchored, more aware of my presence. You are no longer moved by what you see, because you have learned to trust the unseen. The past season was never punishment, it was preparation. And soon you will understand that what I taught you in the shadows is what will keep you standing in the light. The fiercest battles you faced were not fought with swords or storms, they were fought in your mind. I have seen the thoughts that wage war against your peace, the quiet doubts that creep in like shadows whispering that you're not enough, that you're forgotten, that maybe my promises were never really for you. But listen to me, my beloved. Those thoughts are not truth. They are weapons formed to distort the voice of faith within you. The battlefield is not around you. It's within you. The enemy knows that if he can capture your thoughts, he can chain your destiny. That is why I have been teaching you to renew your mind, to take captive every lie and measure it against my word. You must understand that the battle of the mind is not won by striving. It is won by surrender. Every time you choose to believe what I have said over what you see, you win another victory. You have been weary because you've been trying to silence the storm in your thoughts by your own strength. But child, you were never meant to fight this battle alone. It's why I gave you my Spirit, to be your counselor, your comforter, your constant reminder of truth. My word is not just ink on paper, it is a sword in your hand. When the enemy says, you will fail, you lift the truth that says, I can do all things through Christ. When fear says you are alone, you answer with, He will never leave me nor forsake me. Every declaration of truth breaks another chain of deception. The power of victory begins when you choose what to meditate on. As your thoughts grow, so give your faith. I know how loud the lies can become, how convincing the voice of anxiety can sound. But remember, the enemy cannot create. He can only counterfeit. He takes fragments of your past pain and twists them into false narratives about your future. That is why I urge you to guard your mind as a fortress, to let no thought take residence unless it aligns with my truth. You were not created to live enslaved to fear or doubt. You were created to live anchored in peace. My peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the authority to stand unshaken in the midst of it. So now, my beloved, lift your head. Do not let your mind dictate your faith. Let your faith redefine your mind. When the storm of thoughts comes, speak my word louder than the noise. Declare who I am until the lies lose their grip. The battle of the mind is fierce, but victory has already been written in your favor. You are not losing. You are learning to think like the overcomer I created you to be. Let my truth take root, and soon you will find that peace is not a moment. It is your new mindset. You've held on tightly, haven't you? To plans, to outcomes, to timeline you thought must unfold a certain way. You've said, Lord, I trust you, but deep down, you still tried to steer the ship, fearful that if you let go, everything might fall apart. But hear me, beloved. Control is not security, it's captivity. The more you grasp, the heavier the weight becomes. You were never meant to carry what only I can hold. I know it feels frightening to loosen your grip, to stand before the unknown without a map. Yet true courage is not found in control. It's found in surrender. The courage to release control is not weakness. It is the boldest act of faith you will ever take. When you hold on too tightly, you limit what I can do. You try to make sense of what only heaven understands. But when you finally open your hands and say, Lord, have your way, you release me to move freely on your behalf. Control is built on fear, the fear that I might not come through, that you might be disappointed again. But my child, I have never failed you. Even the moments that seemed like loss were simply reroutes toward greater things. When you give me control, you are not losing anything. You are trading uncertainty for peace. Think of the seed. It must fall from the hand into the ground to fulfill its purpose. It cannot bear fruit while clutched tightly. In the same way, what you are afraid to release is what I desire to multiply. When you finally surrender, you give me permission to breathe life into the dreams that seemed lifeless. You will see that surrender is not about giving up, it's about giving over. And when you do, my hands will hold what yours cannot. I know you've been hurt by disappointment, and you fear that if you stop managing every detail, you might be hurt again. But child, my plans do not depend on your control. They depend on my promise. I am weaving a masterpiece beyond what you could design. Your peace will not come from having all the answers. It will come from trusting that I already do. Release the reins, my beloved. Let go of your timeline. Let go of the fear of loss. Let go of needing to understand. I am God, faithful, steady, unchanging. When you surrender, I take what's heavy from your hands and place peace in your heart. The courage to release control will unlock blessings you could never orchestrate on your own. The moment you release it all, you will finally feel free, not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer have to be. You have often wondered where I am in the moments when nothing seems to move, haven't you? When prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain shut, when the silence stretches so long it begins to sound like abandonment. But hear me, beloved, I have never stopped moving. My hand has never ceased working, even when you could not see it. I am the God who works in shadows, the master builder who constructs destiny in silence. You see delay, I see design. You see stillness, I see strategy. My unseen hand has been guiding, protecting, and aligning every detail of your life with precision that human eyes cannot perceive. Just because you do not see my hand does not mean I am not near. Faith is not seeing me move. It is trusting that I already am. There were moments when you thought everything was falling apart, but if you could have seen through my eyes, you would have known that everything was falling into place. The job that didn't work out, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, none of it was coincidence. My unseen hand closed those doors not to punish you, but to protect you. You cried over losses that were actually my mercy in disguise. You asked me to bless what would have broken you. And when I said no, I was saying yes to something greater, though it was hidden beneath the veil of time. I am never idle. Even when you stand still, I am arranging what you cannot yet understand. You long to see evidence, to trace the outline of my work, but sometimes visibility would destroy what I'm building. If you saw it too soon, you would step in too early and alter the masterpiece I'm creating. My unseen hand works best in mystery because mystery protects faith. Every miracle begins in a place where human logic cannot interfere. I ask you to trust me in the invisible because that's where I prove myself faithful. You may not see my fingerprints, but soon you will see my fulfillment. The puzzle pieces that never made sense will fit together with breathtaking clarity, and you will whisper, "Now I see what you were doing all along." So stop searching for signs and start resting in assurance. My unseen hand is never uncertain. I hold your tomorrow as firmly as I held your yesterday. The same hand that parted seas, calmed storms, and raised the dead is the same hand holding you now. I have gone before you, my beloved. I am in every detail, every delay, every divine intersection. One day soon, when the veil lifts, you will realize that I was working not behind your back, but ahead of your steps. You've never been forsaken. You've been guided by the unseen hand of the God who never lets go. There comes a moment in every journey when I stop waiting for your understanding and start calling for your obedience. That moment, beloved, is now. You have prayed for clarity, asked for confirmation, sought signs, but I have already spoken. The next step no longer requires more revelation. It requires decision. This is the moment of crossing over, the holy point where hesitation becomes disobedience and faith becomes action. You've reached the edge of what you can plan, predict, or prepare for. Now I ask for your yes, not your perfect readiness, not your full comprehension, but your surrendered yes. Every promise I have prepared for you waits on the other side of obedience. You fear stepping too soon. Yet you don't realize that waiting too long can be just as dangerous. The enemy loves indecision because it keeps you standing in neutral, close enough to glimpse destiny but too afraid to enter it. I have given you enough light for the next step. You do not need to see the whole path. I lead you one step at a time so that faith remains your compass, not fear. The moment of decision is never about knowing. It is about trusting. It is the bridge between believing my promise and walking in its fulfillment. And though your knees may shake, this step is holy ground, for each act of obedience becomes a gateway to new glory. I see how the battle between faith and fear has worn you down. You've wrestled between what's safe and what's sacred. You've told yourself, I'll move when I'm sure, but, my child, faith doesn't begin with certainty. It begins with surrender. The assurance you seek will not come before you step. It will meet you after. I never called you to be fearless. I called you to be faithful. Fear will whisper that you'll fail, that you're not ready, that maybe you heard me wrong. But when I call, I also equip. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the step. This moment is more than a decision. It is a defining shift. What you decide in faith today will ripple through generations. Destiny hinges on obedience, and obedience always begins with trust. Do not delay what heaven is ready to release. Every time you hesitate, the weight of worry grows heavier, but the moment you move, heaven moves with you. Take the step, even if it trembles beneath you. You are not walking into uncertainty. You are walking into my purpose. This is the moment when fear ends and fulfillment begins. Do not let it pass you by. Say yes, my beloved, for the time of decision has come, and all of heaven stands ready to back your obedience. You have felt it, haven't you? The heaviness that comes with obedience. The trembling in your spirit when I ask you to do something that costs you more than you expected. You've learned by now that obedience is not always easy or glamorous. It often feels like walking with a cross no one else sees, carrying a yes that breaks something inside you, even as it builds something eternal. But hear me, beloved. The weight of obedience is not meant to crush you. It's meant to crown you. Every act of obedience carries divine weight because it carries eternal consequence. What feels heavy to you is holy to me. I place this weight not to burden you, but to strengthen the foundation of who you are becoming in me. When I call you to obey, it's rarely convenient. It stretches your faith, tests your loyalty, and refines your love. But every time you choose my will over your comfort, heaven takes notice. The world may never see what it cost you to say yes, but I do. I see when you forgive when it's easier to resent, when you give when it hurts, when you stay silent when your flesh wants to speak. Those are sacred sacrifices. Obedience is not measured by public applause. It is measured by private surrender. You prayed to carry my glory. But my glory can only rest on shoulders that have learned to bear the weight of obedience. It's not an easy weight, but it's a transforming one. You've wondered why some blessings take so long, why I don't release them sooner. It's because glory without obedience destroys. Blessing without surrender corrupts. I will not hand you something that your character cannot hold. So when I delay, I'm not withholding from you. I'm fortifying within you. Every time you obey when you don't understand, you build spiritual muscle. Every time you trust me when it costs you something, you make room for greater anointing. My child, do not despise the heaviness. It is proof that you are carrying something sacred. Even my son carried the weight of obedience up a hill called Calvary. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And through that obedience, salvation came to the world. You may not see it yet, but your obedience will unlock blessings for others too. What you carry now in faith will become someone else's freedom layer. The weight you bear will one day become a testimony of my power through you. So lift your head, beloved. I am strengthening your shoulders for what's ahead. The weight of obedience is not punishment, it's preparation for glory. Keep carrying it with joy, for one day soon, the weight you feel will become the crown you wear. You've looked around and realized that not everyone understands the path I've called you to walk. The people who once walked beside you now question your direction, and sometimes you wonder if you've misunderstood me. But hear me, beloved. Walking alone does not mean walking wrong. Some roads are too sacred for crowds. The faith that truly transforms must, at times, walk alone. When I call you deeper, I often separate you, not to isolate you, but to elevate you. Solitude with me is never loneliness. It is divine intimacy. You've prayed for closeness, for revelation, for purpose. And now, I have drawn you into the quiet where I can speak to you without distraction. You think I've taken people away, but really, I've made room for me. You may not realize it, but the faith that walks alone is the faith that sees most clearly. Abraham had to walk up the mountain without understanding how provision would come. Moses stood alone before Pharaoh when everyone doubted deliverance. Even my son prayed alone in Gethsemane, his friends sleeping while his soul wept. The path of obedience has always been narrow because it requires focus. I remove the noise so that you can hear my whisper. And yes, I know the ache of missing what was familiar. The company, the affirmation, the safety of agreement. But I promise you, what you gain in solitude with me far outweighs what you've lost. This season is not rejection. It is refinement. You are learning to depend on my voice alone, not the approval of others. You are learning to walk by faith, not by validation. The faith that walks alone is the faith that trusts me even when applause fades, even when encouragement ceases, even when the path grows silent. In these moments, I teach you that my presence is enough. You will find that what once felt like isolation is actually consecration, set apart for divine purpose. I know it feels painful, but remember this: the lonely path often leads to the highest revelation. When you walk alone, you walk closer to me. I am shaping you into someone who no longer needs confirmation to obey, someone who no longer depends on company to keep walking. The solitude you fear is the sacred space where I strengthen your spirit. Soon, others will see what I've been doing in you quietly. They will see fruit that could only come from roots grown in hidden soil. So walk on, my beloved. You are not alone. You are walking with me. Every step you take in faith is accompanied by heaven's gaze. The faith that walks alone is not forsaken. It is chosen, and it is unstoppable. There comes a moment, my beloved, when I allow you to catch just a glimpse of what I have been preparing, the faint shimmer of glory breaking through the veil of faith. You have walked through darkness, trusted me when the way was unclear, and held tightly to promises that seemed distant. But now, I am letting you see a fragment of the fullness that is coming. It may be small, like the first light of dawn, but it is enough to remind you that I have never forgotten you. This glimpse is not the end. It is the assurance of what's ahead. When I allow you to see even a fraction of my glory, it is to strengthen you for the final stretch. You are not imagining it. The stirring you feel, the sudden renewal of hope, the awareness that something divine is drawing near, that is me revealing myself in a way your spirit can recognize. You see, I never reveal my glory all at once, because your heart could not yet contain the fullness of it. Glory unfolds gradually, like light spilling over a horizon. Each glimpse you receive is a portion of revelation meant to awaken your awe, not satisfy your curiosity. You have prayed to see my power, but my glory is more than power. It is presence. It is the radiance of who I am, shining in places that once felt hopeless. The glimpse of glory is my way of saying, you're closer than you think. Keep walking. Don't give up now. When I let you glimpse it, I am not just showing you the future, I am showing you me. And I know, even a glimpse could overwhelm you. You feel humbled, unworthy, undone. That is how every soul responds when touched by true glory. It silences striving and fills the heart with holy awe. But do not fear this feeling. Glory is not meant to intimidate. It is meant to invite. When you glimpse it, I am inviting you deeper, calling you to walk in greater closeness, to live not by sight but by wonder. The glimpse is a promise that what I've begun, I will complete. It is a reminder that your suffering was not wasted. It was the soil where glory takes root. So when you sense my presence thick around you, when peace floods your spirit for no reason, when you feel tears fall without sadness, know this: you are glimpsing my glory. It's not imagination, it's visitation. I am revealing myself to your spirit so you never forget that I am with you. This glimpse is just the beginning, my beloved. The greater unveiling is near. Hold on to this moment and let it carry you forward. For soon, the glimpse will become the full dawn, and you will walk in the glory you once only glimpsed from afar. There is something sacred happening even now, my child, something invisible yet eternal. Every time you surrender, every time you lay something down in faith, a divine exchange takes place between heaven and your heart. You release what is temporary, and I give you what is eternal. You let go of weakness, and I give you strength. You hand me your sorrow, and I place peace in its place. You surrender your plans, and I give you destiny. This exchange is not transactional, it's transformational. You don't earn it, you enter it. I am not a distant God making deals. I am your Father offering restoration. The divine exchange is the heartbeat of grace, your emptiness for my fullness, your ashes for my beauty, your burden for my joy. You've been trying to hold on, thinking strength means control, but true strength is in surrender. Every time you let go of what weighs you down, you create space for my spirit to fill you. You cannot receive while your hands are still clenched. That's why I call you to release, to exchange. The world will tell you surrender means loss, but in my kingdom, surrender means gain. The divine exchange happens in the quiet, when you weep in my presence, when you whisper prayers you can't fully express, when you breathe out pain and breathe in my peace. You don't always feel it in the moment, but something shifts in heaven every time you choose to trust me. You see, my Son modeled this exchange on the cross. He gave his life so you could receive mine. He bore sin so you could wear righteousness. He took the wounds so you could walk in healing. Every victory you live in today was purchased through that exchange. And I still extend that invitation daily, not once in a lifetime, but every moment you feel the weight of this world pressing on you. Come to me and trade your striving for stillness, your anxiety for assurance, your questions for communion. You never walk away empty-handed when you come to me open-hearted. Do you see it now? Every hardship, every season of surrender, every moment when you say, Lord, I can't carry this anymore, becomes an altar where divine exchange happens. You lay down what hurts, and I fill you with what heals. You give me your worst, and I give you my best. This is how I transform pain into purpose and weakness into worship. So, my beloved, stop resisting the exchange. Let me take what you no longer need. What you lose in surrender, you gain 1,000-fold in grace. The divine exchange is not just a moment. It is the rhythm of a life fully yielded to me. And if you will keep coming, I will keep filling until the old is gone and only glory remains. You can feel it. can't you? That subtle change in the air around your spirit, the quiet stirring that tells you something unseen has begun to move. You can't explain it, but you sense it deep within your being. Something in the atmosphere is shifting. What once felt heavy now begins to feel lighter. What once resisted now begins to yield. You are not imagining it, my beloved. Heaven has begun to move in your favor. The prayers you thought were buried have reached their appointed time. The doors that once stood closed are beginning to tremble. The spiritual climate around you is changing because I have declared it so. When I shift an atmosphere, it happens first within you before it manifests around you. I am stirring your faith, wakening your vision, and breaking the stillness with the sound of fulfillment approaching. Do not dismiss the restlessness you feel. That holy discomfort is evidence that the old season no longer fits you. I am stretching you into alignment with what I am releasing next. You are sensing this shift not because the world is changing, but because your spirit is tuning to heaven's new frequency. You are being drawn into a divine rhythm where obedience and timing meet perfectly. The resistance you once faced is beginning to bow. The weight that pressed you down is beginning to lift. This is not imagination, it is transition. The atmosphere is responding to your persistence in faith. Every prayer, every tear, every act of obedience has been building toward this moment. The heavens have taken notice, and what was once delayed is now being accelerated. You have endured the silence, and now you will feel the wind. You will sense my spirit moving swiftly, shifting what has long been stagnant. Relationships will realign, opportunities will emerge, and clarity will come where confusion once lived. This shift will not require you to strive. It will require you to stay sensitive. When I move, it is not through chaos but through divine order. Listen for my whisper. Move when I nudge. The shift is not coming to overwhelm you. It is coming to establish you. This is the moment when the unseen becomes seen. The same atmosphere that once resisted you will now work for you. I am breathing new life into dry places, resurrecting what seemed dead, and releasing the fresh oil of my spirit over you. You will begin to notice things falling into place without your effort, doors opening without your push, peace returning without your understanding. That is how you know I am near. The shift is not random. It is the fulfillment of promises I made long ago. So be still and aware, my child. Heaven's winds are changing direction, and they are carrying you forward into the next dimension of your destiny. The atmosphere around you has shifted because my favor has found you. This is the moment you have waited for, the quiet beginning of what I promised you long ago. You may not see the full picture yet, but it has already begun. Like dawn breaking over a horizon, the light of my word is unfolding piece by piece, revealing what has been hidden in darkness. The promise is not coming. It is already here, beginning to manifest in ways you didn't expect. I have been faithful to every detail, and now, the time of unveiling is upon you. What was once a whisper in prayer is becoming visible in your life. You are stepping into the season of fulfillment, where words I spoke in secret will now speak through your story. I know it felt like nothing was happening for so long. You watered the ground with tears, wondering if anything would ever grow. But now, beloved, the soil is breaking open. The roots that grew in silence are producing visible fruit. This is not a sudden miracle. It is the culmination of countless unseen moments where faith refused to die. Every act of obedience, every prayer in the night, every time you chose to believe when there was no evidence, it all led here. I have been unfolding this promise in divine sequence, not in haste but in harmony. My timing has never been delayed. It has been deliberate. When I unfold a promise, I do it layer by layer, so your heart can expand to hold the blessing. The fullness would overwhelm you if it came all at once. That is why I have allowed the gradual unveiling to teach you gratitude, stewardship, and trust. You are learning that my promises are not transactions, they are relationships. You walk with me as they come alive, and each step reveals more of my faithfulness. You will begin to notice signs, small confirmations that my word is materializing. It may come through unexpected favor, divine connections, or sudden peace where there was once anxiety. Do not overlook these moments. They are petals of the promise unfolding before your eyes. This season will require you to remain humble, for the promise is not the destination. It is the beginning of new purpose. I am not just blessing you. I am entrusting you. What I place in your hands will carry my glory, and it must be handled with reverence. The unfolding of the promise is not just for you. It will impact others who have been watching your faith endure. They will see your story and know that I am faithful. So lift your eyes, my beloved. What you hoped for is becoming real. What you prayed for is now unfolding. My word never returns void, and this is the season where it begins to bloom before your very eyes. You thought hope had died, didn't you? You buried it quietly, deep inside your heart, afraid to believe again because disappointment had bruised you too many times. You learned to live without expectation, convincing yourself that maybe this is just how life will be. But hear me, beloved, hope is not dead. It was only resting. I am breathing on the ashes of what you thought was gone, and life is returning. The season of despair that dulled your dreams is ending. I am restoring the spark that pain tried to extinguish. The restoration of hope is not a small thing. It is the rebirth of your spirit. I am not just giving you hope for what's next. I am resurrecting the hope that once defined who you are. Hope does not return in a shout. It comes as a whisper. You'll feel it in moments when your heart stirs again, when something inside says, maybe it's not over. That's me, breathing resurrection into what was broken. Hope is holy, and that's why the enemy tried to steal it, because he knew that once you lose hope, you stop expecting my goodness. But I am the God who specializes in impossible resurrections. What you thought was over, I am reviving. What you thought was too late, I am redeeming. Hope is rising again because I am near. My presence is the proof that something new is coming. You see, hope is not optimism. It's certainty rooted in who I am. It's not wishful thinking. It's confident assurance that my promises stand even when circumstances don't. I am restoring that kind of hope in you, the kind that looks at barren ground and still says, it will bloom. The kind that sees storms and still believes peace is coming. The kind that refuses to die because it's anchored in me. You are about to dream again, not from desperation, but from renewed faith. What once made you weep will now make you worry. Do not fear this stirring of hope. I know you've guarded your heart, afraid that hope will betray you again. But child, hope that comes from me cannot disappoint. It matures. It deepens. It roots itself in truth. You are not returning to naive hope. You are stepping into refined hope, the kind that has been tested by fire and proven indestructible. This hope will not be fleeting. It will sustain you. You will wake up with new expectancy, not because everything has changed overnight, but because you finally believe again that I am who I said I am. The restoration of hope is not the end. It's the beginning of miracles. What you are feeling now is not just emotion. It's resurrection power, bringing back to life everything you thought you lost. Hope lives again, and with it, so do you. You feel it, beloved. That sudden ease where there once was struggle. The peace that has begun to replace confusion. That is the joy of alignment. You have been through seasons where everything felt uphill, where even obedience seemed to cost more than you could give. But now, after all the pruning, stretching, and refining, your spirit is aligning with mine. Alignment doesn't mean perfection, it means agreement. It means your heart beats in rhythm with my will. When you reach this place, you no longer fight against what I'm doing. You flow with it. And when you flow with me, joy naturally follows. This is not the shallow happiness of circumstance. It is the deep, steady joy that comes from harmony between Creator and creation. For so long you prayed, Lord, make a way, not realizing I was making you. I was adjusting your desires, reshaping your motives, and refining your perspective so that when I blessed you, the blessing would fit. Alignment is what makes answered prayer sustainable. Without it, blessings become burdens. But now, your heart is learning to rest in what I've chosen, to delight in what once frustrated you, to trust me even when you can't see the whole path. That trust has created a new rhythm in your spirit. You are beginning to walk not just with obedience, but with joy, because obedience now feels like love, not duty. This joy you feel rising is not fragile. It is rooted in surrender. You've discovered that peace doesn't come from control. It comes from trust. The tension that once consumed you is dissolving because your will and mine are no longer in conflict. You are discovering what it truly means to live in sync with heaven, to move when I move, to rest when I rest, to speak when I speak. In this alignment, life regains its melody. The noise of confusion fades and clarity begins to sing. Do you see how far you've come? What once drained you now fills you. What once frightened you now excites you. That is the fruit of alignment. You are not forcing outcomes anymore. You are flowing in grace. This joy is my reward for your perseverance, for choosing my way even when it cost you your own. You are walking now in the ease that comes when striving ends and surrender begins. The joy of alignment is not about everything around you being perfect. It's about everything within you being at peace. And now that your heart is aligned with mine, you will experience the fullness of joy that only comes from abiding. Stay in this rhythm, my beloved. For this is how heaven touches earth, through a heart perfectly aligned with mine. Do you feel that peace settling over you? The quiet assurance that something inside you has shifted and settled. That, my beloved, is the mark of completion. It is not the end of your journey, but the fulfillment of a divine face. You have walked through seasons of stretching, endured nights of silence, fought battles that no one else saw, and yet here you stand, stronger, wiser, deeper, and more anchored in me. Completion is not just the closing of a chapter, it is the sealing of what I've accomplished within you. You have been tested and proven faithful. The very places that once felt unfinished are now filled with my signature of wholeness. You may not realize it yet, but heaven has already declared, it is done. Completion looks different than you expected. It doesn't always come with celebration or fanfare. It often comes quietly, with deep exhale and holy gratitude. It is the moment when striving ceases because purpose has been fulfilled. You once prayed for change. Now, change lives within you. I have rewritten your story, not by removing the scars, but by transforming them into testimonies. The mark of completion is not perfection, it is peace. It's the moment you stop chasing and start resting, not because the journey has ended, but because your heart finally understands that I am enough. You see, my child, every trial had an assignment. Every delay was a brushstroke in the masterpiece I was painting. You looked at the fragments and called them broken, but I saw the pattern all along. I was weaving purpose through every thread of your pain. Completion is not about everything making sense. It's about you learning to trust me even when it did. Now that trust has matured, you no longer question every twist and turn. You walk knowing that I guide your every step. That is completion, the maturity of faith that no longer depends on explanation, only on intimacy. The mark of completion also carries a release. It means you can finally let go of what once consumed you. You don't have to keep revisiting what I've already redeemed. The past has served its purpose. The lessons are sealed in your spirit. This is the moment to stand tall and breathe freely, for what was unfinished has been made whole. Heaven recognizes it. Even creation around you feels the shift. You are stepping out of process and into purpose, carrying the fragrance of fulfillment. So lift your eyes, my beloved. The season that shaped you has done its work. Your refining fire has finished its purifying task. What remains is pure, steadfast, and ready for the next glory. The mark of completion is upon you, and now nothing can undo what I have perfected within you. Listen closely, beloved. Can you hear it? That sound rising softly within your spirit. That melody that doesn't come from the world around you but from deep inside. It is the song of victory. You may think victory is only when the battle is over, but I tell you, victory begins when you decide to worship in the middle of the war. You have been through valleys that tried to silence your song, storms that tried to drown it, but it never disappeared. It was only waiting for this moment, the moment when your spirit, scarred but steadfast, begins to sing again. This song is not made of perfect notes. It is made of endurance, faith, and fire. It is born from every moment you refuse to give up. It is the sound of triumph that only those who have overcome can carry. Your song is sacred because it carries my glory within it. It is not just a song of what I have done. It is a declaration of who I am. Every word you speak in worship becomes a weapon. Every note you lift in faith becomes a banner of victory over the enemy's lies. When you sing, chains break. When you praise, the atmosphere shifts. This is not ordinary music. It is heaven echoing through you. The song of victory is not sung after you win. It's sung because you already have. You don't wait for evidence to celebrate. You celebrate because my promise guarantees the outcome. I have been waiting for the sound from you, the unfiltered, unguarded, unashamed song of one who has walked through the fire and come out shining. Your worship now carries weight. It is not the sound of one seeking miracles. It is the sound of one who has become one. You've learned that victory is not the absence of struggle but the presence of perseverance. You've discovered that even in tears, there can be praise. Even in weakness, there can be strength. That revelation has changed everything. You now sing from a place of authority, not anxiety. You now worship from victory, not for it. So let your spirit sing, my beloved. Don't hold back your hallelujahs. Let them rise like incense before my throne. This song is not just for you. It will awaken others who have forgotten their melody. Your testimony will become their tune. The sound of your victory will break despair in others and invite them to believe again. Sing not because the road was easy, but because you never walked it alone. Sing because the one who promised has fulfilled his word. Sing because what the enemy meant for evil has become the harmony of redemption. This is the song that only the overcomers can sing, the song of victory that echoes through eternity. You realize, my beloved, that your story is not just your own. The pain you endured, the prayers you whispered in the dark, the victories that seem small to you, all of it carries the fragrance of testimony. You have been walking through fire, not only for your refining but for the illumination of others who will one day follow your footsteps. I have written your life as a living letter, a divine narrative that reveals my faithfulness to those who doubt that I still move. You may not see it yet, but your journey is about to become someone else's proof that I am real. Every tear you shed, every mountain you climbed, every battle you thought you lost was shaping a story that will breathe life into weary souls. I never waste pain. What you survived will become the key that unlocks hope for another. You've often asked me, Lord, why did it have to be this hard? And though I wept with you through every trial, I also saw beyond your present. I saw the faces of those who would one day hear your story and rise again because of it. The scars you carry are not symbols of defeat. They are sacred testimonies of endurance, evidence that faith survives the fire. There are those waiting for your words, waiting for the sound of your testimony to break their silence. You think your voice is small, but it echoes in eternity. When you speak of how I carried you, heaven amplifies it into the hearts of others who are praying for proof that I still rescue, still heal, still restore. You are not called to hide what I have done. You are called to declare it. Every miracle I perform in your life is meant to multiply through your testimony. The enemy tried to convince you that your past disqualifies you, but I say it is your very past that qualifies you to speak. Who better to declare freedom than one who has walked out of bondage? Who better to speak of my mercy than one who has tasted it? When you tell your story, chains break. Your authenticity carries power because it is soaked in my grace. So, my beloved, do not be silent. Let your story shine with unfiltered truth, the victories and the valleys alike. The testimony I have given you is a seed of revival. You will never know how many hearts it will awaken, how many souls it will strengthen, how many lives it will redirect toward me. When you speak, do not fear judgment, fear only silence. For your testimony is not about you. It is about me through you. Tell the world what I have done. Let the redeemed say so. You are my living evidence that faith works, love heals, and hope never dies. You have been faithful in the unseen places, haven't you? When no one was watching, you chose obedience. When no one clapped, you kept serving. When the outcome was uncertain, you kept believing. I have seen every moment of quiet faithfulness, every hidden act of love, every prayer whispered through tears. And now, beloved, the time of reward has come. I am a just God. I do not forget the labor of those who serve me with pure hearts. Faithfulness as a fragrance, and yours has risen before my throne. You thought no one noticed, but heaven took record of it all. The reward of faithfulness is not merely material blessing. It is my favor resting upon your life, opening doors that no one can shut. It is peace that cannot be shaken, joy that cannot be stolen, an influence that carries eternal impact. You see, faithfulness is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You stayed when others left. You believed when others doubted. You waited when everything in you wanted to run. That kind of faithfulness moves heaven. I tested your endurance, not to tire you but to prove you trustworthy. What you have carried faithfully in small things has prepared you to steward greater things. The world measures success by speed, but I measure it by steadfastness. I am not looking for those who shine briefly, but for those who burn steadily. You have burned steadily, and now your light is ready to shine brighter than ever. There were moments you questioned if your sacrifice even mattered. You gave, served, prayed, and forgave without reward in sight. But child, faithfulness is never wasted. It builds spiritual equity in heaven that manifests at the appointed time. You are stepping into the time now, the season where what was sown in tears will be reaped in joy. My reward is coming not as repayment, but as overflow. You will see the fruit of seeds you forgot you planted. Doors will open with ease not because you earned them, but because your faithfulness unlocked them. And yet, the greatest reward is not in what I give, it is in what I've made you through faithfulness. You have become steadfast, humble, unshakable. The storms didn't destroy you. They revealed what I built in you. You've learned that faithfulness is not about results, but relationship. You stayed close to me when you could have turned away, and now you will see that I was with you every step of the way. The reward of faithfulness is this: you will lack nothing in my presence, for I am your portion. Every promise I spoke over you is ready to bloom. The time of reaping has arrived, my beloved. What you did quietly, I will now honor publicly. For I am vival, and I always are vival. You have carried so much for so long, haven't you? The weight of responsibility, the constant striving to hold everything together, the quiet pressure to keep going even when your strength felt gone. But now, beloved, I am calling you to something deeper than motion. I am calling you to rest. This is not the rest of idleness or escape, but the sacred rest of trust. You have worked, prayed, fought, waited, endured, and now I am saying lay it down. Let me carry what you no longer can. The invitation to rest is not weakness, it is worship. It is the act of surrendering the outcome to me and believing that I am enough. You do not need to earn peace. Peace is the inheritance of those who trust. You have confused activity with purpose, as though constant motion proves faithfulness. But faithfulness is not in the busyness. It is in the stillness of knowing I am God. When you rest in me, you declare that your future is secure in my hands. You silence the voice of fear that says, if I stop, everything will fall apart. My child, it is not your effort that holds your life together, it is my grace. The same hands that formed the stars hold your tomorrow. Rest is not a retreat from responsibility. It is a return to dependence. When you rest in me, you make room for my power to do what your strength never could. Do you remember how I rested on the seventh day? Creation was complete, yet my rest was not exhaustion. It was satisfaction. And with a joy of completion. I want you to rest in that same confidence. The battles you fought, the prayers you've prayed, the steps of obedience you've taken, they have not been in vain. You are not behind. You are exactly where I need you to be. You have reached the point where striving must give way to surrender. You are not meant to carry every burden. I have already carried it for you. Rest is not just permission. It is my command, because I know that only from rest can you receive renewal. So, breathe deeply, my beloved. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Let the anxiety fade from your mind. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to fix everything. Come to me, and I will give you rest. Not temporary relief, but true restoration. In rest, your heart will heal, your mind will clear, your spirit will revive. This invitation is not about stepping back from purpose. It's about stepping closer to me. I am your rest. I am your peace. And when you learn to rest in my presence, you will discover that the world cannot take what I freely give. You have often asked me, Lord, why did I have to go through all of this? And now, beloved, I am revealing what was hidden in the mystery, the purpose behind the pain, the meaning behind the waiting, the divine design behind every delay. You are entering a season of revelation where what once confused you will begin to make sense. The broken pieces are coming together, and you will see the pattern I was weaving all along. Purpose is not discovered in the comfort of success, but in the ashes of surrender. I have been shaping you for this moment, refining your heart, stripping away the unnecessary, and preparing you to carry the very thing I created you for. You thought I was withholding, but I was building. You thought I was silent, but I was sculpting destiny within you. Purpose, my child, is not a single event or achievement. It is the unfolding of who you become in me. It is not something you chase. It is something you awaken to. Every trial taught you something essential for what comes next. The pain that once seemed random was the classroom where your faith learned to speak. The loneliness that once broke your heart became the sanctuary where you learned my voice. The waiting that once frustrated you became the soil where patience and character grew. None of it was wasted. Every chapter of your story carries meaning, and together they form the revelation of your purpose, to reflect my glory in every place I've planted you. You see, I do not reveal purpose all at once, because revelation must meet readiness. If I had shown you everything from the beginning, the weight of it would have crushed you. But now, after the refining, you are ready to see. You are ready to walk not in fragments of understanding, but in fullness. Purpose is not about what you do, it's about who you carry. When your will aligns with mine, every step becomes sacred. Even the ordinary becomes divine when lived in obedience. And so, I am unveiling what you could not see before. You will look back and realize that my hand was guiding every twist, every turn, every delay. You will understand why I closed some doors and opened others. You will see that even the seasons that hurt you most were the ones that healed you deepest. This is the revelation of purpose, to see me in all things, to know that your story was never random but written by love. Walk now in confidence, beloved. The fog is lifting, and destiny is dawning. What was once hidden has been revealed, and what I have begun in you will now flow through you for my glory. Do you feel it, beloved? A deep stillness beneath the noise of the world, the quiet pull of eternity whispering through your soul. That is me. I am reminding you that everything you have walked through, everything you have overcome, everything you have surrendered has been leading to this understanding, that your life has always been more than moments. It has always been eternal. You were never meant to measure your worth by seasons that change or circumstances that fade. You were created for eternity, crafted by my hands for fellowship that will never end. Every step you've taken on this earthly journey has been a rehearsal for the glory that awaits beyond what your eyes can see. This is the eternal reminder I write upon your heart, that even here, even now, you are living in the shadow of forever. You have spent so much of your life reaching, striving, building, and hoping for things that pass with time, yet deep within you, something has always known there must be more. That ache you felt, the one no success could silence, no possession could satisfy, no relationship could fully heal, that is the longing for me. I placed it there, not as a wound, but as a compass. It calls you home. Every longing for peace, every desire for purpose, every tear you've cried in search of meaning, they are echoes of eternity calling you back to the one who is your beginning and your end. My beloved, do not ignore that ache. It is the proof that you were made for more than this world can offer. You see, everything in your life has purpose beyond what you can measure. Every trial refined you for eternal strength. Every waiting season deepened your dependence on eternal truth. Every loss loosened your grip on temporary things and taught you to value what cannot be taken from you. Even the moments of joy, those flashes of beauty and love, they were glimpses of what heaven feels like, small windows into the perfection that awaits. I am not just preparing a place for you, I am preparing you for that place. Every lesson, every victory, every tear has been molding your spirit to reflect my image more clearly. This life was never meant to be the destination, it is the doorway. And yet, even as eternity draws you forward, I want you to know that I am not only waiting for you at the end. I am with you now, in every breath, in every sunrise, in every heartbeat that reminds you of my sustaining power. The eternal does not begin after death. It begins in the moment you truly trust me. When you walk with me, you are already living in eternity's rhythm. You are tasting the reality of heaven in your daily surrender, your quiet prayers, your unshakable faith. This is why I have called you to live differently, to love freely, to forgive deeply, to serve without condition, because you are an eternal being living a temporary story. What you do here echoes forever. Do not lose sight of that truth, even when the world tries to pull you into its chaos. You will hear voices that say, "This is all there is. Get what you can, hold what you have." But those voices are lies born from fear. You, my beloved, are not bound by time. You are not confined by circumstance. You are not defined by failure or success. You are mine, eternal, chosen, radiant with the same light that fills heaven. I have marked you with my spirit as a seal what is to come. Nothing you face here can separate you from me. Not death, not loss, not sorrow, because your story doesn't end in shadows. It ends in light. So remember this: when you walk through pain, it is not without purpose. When you wait, it is not without reason. When you love, it is not without reward. Every act of faith is eternal. Every tear of worship is recorded. Every heartbeat surrendered to me resounds through eternity. You are part of something infinite, something beautiful, something that cannot fade. This is the eternal reminder I leave with you. You belong to forever. You are loved beyond time, held beyond circumstance, destined beyond this world. And one day, when you see me face to face, you will understand that every moment on earth was a thread in the tapestry of eternal glory I was weaving with your life. Until then, keep walking with me, eyes fixed on what is unseen, heart anchored in what is everlasting. For I am not just the God of your today, I am the God of your forever. Amen.